What is going on, Big Blue Nation? Will Turpin with the UK Superfan here. We got a little news and notes and a little wrap up and recap from what happened last night. As you guys watched the same thing I watched, it's probably one of the absolute ugliest performances in recent memory. Uh, really, both teams. Just was absolutely abysmal last night. When you look at the numbers, my goodness, 20 out of 67 from the floor for Kansas, and then Kentucky 22 out of 61. As a basketball fan, it was not fun to watch. On the Kentucky end of it, no point guard play whatsoever. We're just gonna get right into it. I've got a lot to say on this. We're gonna zip through it as quickly as we can, though. No point guard play whatsoever. Um, it would seem that Brandon Boston and Terrence Clark they neither one can throw it in the ocean, and they're allowed to play through a lot of mistakes. Some players on the other players on the team aren't allowed to. As a matter of fact, I'll just come out and be frank with you. Dante Allen will probably be a contributor next year for a college basketball team, and it probably won't be the Kentucky Wildcats. If something doesn't change and change very soon, we're going to kill that kid's confidence. So for one, that's just we're struggling to shoot the basketball. So, I really Dante would love to see him get more run. But going on down through the list, obviously Devin Askew, like I said, we're getting no point guard play from either him or Davion Mintz, really either one. What really hurt us last night, we got in foul trouble with Olivier Sarr, only getting to play 14 minutes in the game, I think. Now that if you'd have told me that, then I would have said we had no chance to win anyway. But with Jackson and Terrence Clark both giving us little to nothing. The only slight bright spot of the game was Isaiah Jackson, who did pull down like 12 rebounds and had 8 blocks, but he too had trouble putting the ball in the basket, and it seemed like nobody on our team, even from point blank range. So if you look at our 3-point percentage, which is, we're coming off a an 0 for 10 or an 0 for 11 performance, I think it was the last game, and then you throw in a 3 for 21 performance here from downtown. When you combine that with the fact that you're shooting maybe 50% on dunks and layups for the season, there's your reason why you can't score. Jacob Toppin did come in, give us a little bit of a boost of energy. Was trying to go up and pull down a few rebounds, but ultimately Lance Wareham, he just got abused every time he came into the game. So we'll be really, really needing to get back to full strength. Getting this roster, it's evident that right now we're in complete shambles, trying to score points. So, Keon can definitely add another piece that at least did come back last year. Obviously, I don't want to just sit here and break down all the numbers for this game. We talked about the keys to the game. Controlling the offensive and backboard was going to be a big deal. I thought we needed to win the rebound margin, and we definitely needed to win the offensive rebound margin because we knew we were going to have trouble scoring if we were going to win this game. Well, they offensive rebounded us 19-13. So there you go. The next key to the game, I said if Kentucky's to win, we need a 6 or 7 or 8 point edge in fast break points. And once again, it did not happen. Kansas, 12 fast break points, and Kentucky only 9. So, we got beat by 3 there. So we didn't get destroyed on either one of those categories, which I guess is what kept us in the game, but we needed to win those 2 categories. And then you look at match the ball movement of Kansas. We knew Kansas was more experienced obviously everybody we play is going to be more experienced. But we knew, they have a top flight Hall of Fame coach themselves and Bill Self. We knew that, looking at their first two games on tape, that they didn't have any identity crisis. They knew that Brown and Abazi, they knew those guys were their shooters. They kind of knew what they were going to try to do, and so we knew they were going to move the ball. And when they were in a half-court offense, they were going to look better than us. But we could have never imagined that we were going to look as bad as we looked in the half-court. So, for the first half of the game, we sort of did match their ball movement. But if you go back and look at the tape, and it was not good to do, but I actually did do. I went back and watched the last 7 or 8 minutes of that game, and then the ball just stopped moving. Everything became one-on-one and no sharing of the basketball, and thus that's why you lost the game. Kentucky did go 15 out of 20 from free throw land. I thought if it was a close game and we could be respectable there, that we might be able to win, but we didn't do anything with those other three categories. And so, Kentucky falls to 1-2 here on this young season. And I know that there's a lot of negative comments. Like I had to basically force myself to stay off Twitter. That is a negative wasteland for after a basketball game. But nevertheless, I did go there a little bit and looked around, and and I understand the complaints. The disjointed lineups. I get it. I totally understand it. I understand the frustration. I understand that there's high expectations. But I look around all around the nation, and for whatever reason, there's this misconception here, and even amongst, I think, some of us, that Kentucky is starting all over every year, and it's this old one and done system, and we don't get to invest in the players. And I've caught myself even going on some of these same rambles. But if you really go back and look, if you look at 2 years ago, that team, that's not really been the case. We've not had to completely rebuild this thing, but maybe 3 times in 12 years that this has happened. After that first year, the wall year, we had players coming back, and most years we had players come back. Now, we did get caught after the national championship. We kind of had to rebuild it then, and that Ryan Harrow team, we've had a couple instances, the Netherlands Noel team, we've had a couple instances where the cupboard was a little bare, and this was the case this year, but if you go back and look 2 years ago, we had P.J. Washington and Nick Richards both coming back to join Tyler Hero, Keldon Johnson, and Ashton Hagans coming in. And then if you go back and look at last year, we had sophomore Emmanuel Quickly, sophomore Ashton Hagans, junior Nick Richards. And if Kentucky makes a run to the Final Four last year or wins the Natty last year, we're probably giving John Calipari a lot more breathing room right now. If Kentucky was 1-2 coming off coming off a Final Four or a national championship run, we'd probably be giving him a lot more leeway right now. But the fact of the matter is, for where Corona come in and everything got canceled last year, it's like we forgot about that team. You know what I'm saying? Where we haven't had, we didn't get to experience any tournament last year, and it's like we've just forgotten, and we went back to griping about something I think that we were griping about 3 or 4 years ago during the Ryan Harrow deal, or you know what I'm saying? I kind of feel like that because I've caught myself doing that. I hate this one and done. It's so frustrating. And I get it. We don't get to look at these players no more. But the bottom line is this is going on at every program in the nation. All the top schools in the nation are trying to get the best players. It's just that simple. And a lot of them do have aspirations to go to the NBA. And so, yes, we have become a little bit of a feeder system. But it's usually not like this. Usually we manage the rosters better. And that's why Cal brought in a senior in Olivier Sarr. That's why we took that transfer from Creighton in Davion Mintz. That's why we did it. Because we didn't think that we would lose all those pieces from last year's team, but that's exactly what did happen, as Keon Brooks is the only person that played any minutes at all that returns. So, yes, we have a young team, and it's definitely going to take time, but I would say, and Calipari even come out this morning and said, don't give up on this team, and I say the same thing. I just love Kentucky basketball. Obviously, I'm the UK super fan. You know, when you cut into my skin, it bleeds blue. You know what I'm saying? I want to support my kids. I want to support my program. I've been a Kentucky fan since I was old enough to get to the radio and my uncle turn it on and we'd listen to K. Wood Ledford, you know. So just because I don't maybe agree with this, that, or the other, or whatever political stance somebody took in the off season, you know, I still I'm a Kentucky basketball fan. You know, bottom line, plain and simple. And I enjoy watching the progress. I enjoy the path of watching a team get better. And, you know, this year will test all of our patience. Even the die-hardest of diehards that I am, it's going to test my patience as well. I'm right there with you. I was just as frustrated. I mean, it was sickening to watch just the absolute terrible display of basketball. I mean, it was hard to watch. I mean, honestly. I mean, if something happened last night and you had a Christmas function going on and you had to miss it, you can be thankful. Because as from an entertainment standpoint, it had zero value. And as a massive Kentucky fan like I am, it was very frustrating to watch. And there are so many issues that this ain't going to clean itself up in a matter of a couple of weeks. It's going to take quite a bit of time. So, you know, this season could be a failure. You know, it could be a miserable season by Kentucky standards. It very well could. But see, you know, every single time you bet against John Calipari, because John Calipari, he's not listening to what you're saying on Twitter. The thousands and thousands of comments that you're tweeting, he's not reading those. You know what he's doing? He's worrying about his basketball team, and he's focused on trying to get wins. Now, whether that translates into him actually having success on the court the rest of the season, who knows? But I can guarantee you most of these coaches that are in these big schools, they're super competitive, and they're trying their best to get wins. And these kids, you know, we want to talk about all the negatives, but let's look at all the positives. I mean, you know, Cameron Fletcher, he couldn't get in there and really make a contribution last night, but other than him, everybody else really played their tails off. You know, I mean, there was good effort. I always thought that the effort was good. It's just the fact that they just don't know how to play winning basketball right now. You know, we're asking these kids to do stuff that they've never done before. And yeah, all the criticisms are fair. Yeah, they're all you know, you can tell they're a product of that AAU style basketball, you know, which is one-on-one, and you got to be good enough to make it happen. And unfortunately, at this level in D1, the athletes and the caliber that they are, every team has great athletes. And those edges that Brandon Boston and Terrence Clark had last year, at that level, obviously, those don't exist now. But that's not to say that they can't find that out, figure it out what they need to do. And I honestly do believe that the beauty of this and the beauty of all college basketball teams, especially in the environment that we're in right now, is trying to see a whole entire group of kids come together in 4 or 5 months and make a run at a title. You know, I think that's the beauty of it. And really, if you look at this Kentucky team, I really do think that the pieces are still there to do that. You know, obviously, there's 3 or 4 teams right now in the country that, I mean, if you look at Gonzaga right now, it's hard to see anybody beating them. You know what I'm saying? But I'm sure they'll lose a few games along the way. So, you know, there are teams that are super polished right now, and we're not one of them. And I do think that the shooting problem will ultimately be the downfall of this team if there ends up being one. Even if you correct it, you know, it's got to recede back. I don't think that we're as bad a shooting team as what we have been. But, I mean, if you look at the numbers for the last 2 games, it would be pretty hard to find any Kentucky team. I mean, you'd probably, I don't know how far back you'd have to go to find a 2-game stretch where we shot the ball this poorly. But at the same time, the effort, look at all the effort that was there. I mean, if you can, you know, if you look at the 2 games that when we ran our offense through SAR in the middle, I mean, we looked very effective. I mean, we were running whatever. I mean, we were scoring at will against Richmond and Kansas when the ball went through SAR. So, I mean, obviously, I think the coaching staff is going to see that. I think they already know that. And, this may be a situation where Kentucky really does need to play some zone and try to protect our bigs and keep them out of foul trouble. This may be a situation where, Calipari is going to have to be more flexible with this team than I think any he's ever had here at Kentucky because, we look at how bad they are, but at the same time, there are some fantastic athletes. I mean, what Isaiah Jackson brings to the table when him and Sarr are both on the floor. I mean, that's how Kentucky built that 10-point lead early on. If you go back and look at the first 10 minutes of that Kansas game, yeah, we weren't scoring the ball. We were not very efficient on offense. But if you go back and look, I mean, Olivier Sarr and Isaiah Jackson were just dominating on defense, and they were making it nearly impossible. I think, like, 8 minutes maybe to go in the first half, and Kansas had like 7, 8, 9 points, something like that. I mean, and then that's when the foul trouble started coming in, and then everything just went to haywire. But like I said, we can tear them down. We could spend 2 hours sitting here talking about the deficiencies this team has on offense. But the fact of the matter is, we tear it down, but we also need to realize, to build it back up, Kentucky does have some games where we can get right before we play Louisville. This is a long season, unless you just want to throw it in the garbage can and ignore it and wait till next year, or, I don't know what you want to do with it as Kentucky fans, but I know that everybody in the country deals with this kind of thing. Everybody, all the good teams end up having years where more people left than what they really wanted to have leave, so everybody in the country, we're not immune to to the same things that everybody else has to go through. What the problem is we have super, super high standards, and at Kentucky, you're not allowed to have a down year. You know what I'm saying? You've got to start 8-0, 10-0, 12-0, 13-0 every year because, we're just, in some ways, we feel like we are we're kind of spoiled. We've had so many of those seasons happen. So, like I said, I can completely understand the frustration because I am right in the same boat with you. I want to see the rotations. I want to see some changes in the rotation. I want to see Dante Allen at least get on the floor and be allowed to shoot the ball. And, if we're going to sit there and let Terrence Clark go 3 out of 11, and Brandon Boston go 4 out of 13, then, I need to see more than just 1 for 2 out of Dante Allen. So, I'm right there with you, fan base. I hear you loud and clear, and, I second your frustrations. But also, as a true blue University of Kentucky Wildcat basketball fan, I also, on the flip side of it, I still, regardless of what I agree with Calipari on any topic, I still believe in John Calipari, and anytime you bet against John Calipari, you're probably going to lose money because the fact of the matter is probably between now and the end of February, this team will look a lot different. And if I was a betting man, I'd probably say that we will get this ship righted, and we will. It wouldn't be surprised me if this team don't come out and hit 7, 8, 9, 10 threes in a row because that's the way basketball is. It's a weird game. Just when you think you've got all the answers, the questions just change overnight. And, and that's just exactly what, Kentucky, 3 out of 21 on threes, but that thing, that may regress the other way. Kentucky may start out against, Georgia Tech. We'll probably waste them all in a game that we'd probably win anyway, and we'll probably go like 14 out of 22 from downtown or something. Basketball's a funny thing, and what I tell the fan base is this is a long season. Stay with us, enjoy the path. Hit that like button down there for one. That gets more eyes on us, helps us with the algorithm. If nothing else, you've got me here with you all year. Sometimes y'all might have to talk me off the bridge. Today I'm talking you off the bridge. I'm saying don't jump, Kentucky fans. Let's just enjoy some basketball. Forget about differences in this view or that view or non-basketball related stuff. We've got so much going on in the world right now. I just want to sit back a little bit and be able to watch some basketball and enjoy it. And let's hope this team over the next week or two gives us something to look forward to. And I believe they will. I believe if we support them, we put positive vibes around them, we put positive vibes around Calipari, that he'll get this ship righted. Many times we've counted him out and said, oh, this team can't do nothing or that team can't do nothing. And then he ends up making a run to the Final Four. And then we're all on the bandwagon. Yeah, go Big Blue, go Cats. I see it all the time. So, guys, I do appreciate your support of the UK Superfan channel. I appreciate every one of you that reaches out to me and gives me feedback. It's been a blessing, and like I said, we'll be right back here. Possibly with some, if anything is news and noteworthy coming out. Kentucky plays next on Sunday against Georgia Tech, and obviously we'll be previewing that game right here on the channel. We'll break down everything that you need to know, and I'll kind of keep you up to date with what is coming out of the UK camp during the week, as far as what kind of adjustments Kentucky may be trying to make, what kind of tweaks, as we could say. Obviously, there'll be changes. I'm sure there'll be, we'll look a lot different in Atlanta on Sunday afternoon. Again, appreciate all y'all's support. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Go on this journey with us. And you guys have a good evening. I'm out.